All right, everybody. I apologize. I've been away for a while, but we are back. Cubs baseball coming right back at you. Cubs coming off of a split road trip. They went 3-3 on the road trip. Can't hate that. That's really all you got to do is just manage your road games, win 50% of them, and then win 2 out of 3 of your home games, and you're in the playoffs. Cubs are on their way. Here we go. Big series against the Rays. Kyle Hendricks hitting the mound. And Seiya Suzuki, National League Player of the Week. Let's get it. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Wrigleyville South podcast. I am Chad. Welcome aboard. We appreciate you guys coming in and joining us for, as always, some very exciting Cubs baseball talk. It was a rough little middle stretch of that road trip for the Cubs. They took game 1 against the Pirates in Pittsburgh, then gave up game 2, then came out and won game 1 of the Rockies series, then lost a couple. So really you had like a little 1-3 stretch in there, but they won the 2 games on the bookends, the opener of that road trip, and they closed it out yesterday with another win against the Rockies. So all in all, a 3-3 road trip. Cubs have not lost a series yet this season. 1-1 against the Pirates, 2-2 against the Rockies, and then of course took 2 out of 3 from the Brewers to start the season. So looking, all things considered, through the ever optimistic lens of a Cubs fan this early in the season, looking pretty good. I'm excited, and there are some real, like, logical, statistical reasons to be excited, not just the undying fandom of a Cubs fan. So we're going to get into that stuff here in just a minute. But first, we're going to talk about our man Seiya Suzuki with the National League Player of the Week honors with a tremendous week. Let's get into his numbers here real quick. Give me just a second here. So we have Jose Ramirez won the American League honor, but Seiya Suzuki did it for the Cubs, going 7 for 17, batting .412 with 3 homers, 2 doubles, 5 RBIs, 5 walks, and a 1604 OPS. So pretty impressive, first full week of Major League Baseball. That doesn't include the games at the beginning of the season, that opening series against Milwaukee. So this first full week of 6 games against the Pirates and the Rockies, 2 against the Pirates and 4 against the Rockies. That's an impressive clip there. And what that did is that he wasn't the only one who really went off, but that's impressive to come out and, as a rookie, your first time ever, setting foot on a Major League Baseball field, and you just go out and tear the cover off the ball to the tune of winning the National League Player of the Week award. Pretty impressive. So we are very appreciative of Mr. Seiya Suzuki's decision to come to Chicago, because that has been an amazing addition. Excuse me, an amazing addition to the lineup. And tonight, speaking of, he has settled in right into that 4 spot, batting cleanup, playing right field as usual. You got Nick Madrigal leading off for the first time as a Cub. That's going to be really fun to watch. Wilson Contreras in the 2-hole. I love this lineup. This is beautiful. Going up against a lefty. Love this right-handed heavy lineup and the way that David Ross constructed it. With Madrigal at second leading off, Wilson Contreras at catcher batting second, Frank Schwindel at first batting third. Of course, we talked about Seiya Suzuki in right field batting cleanup. Yan Gomes actually DHing today, so you've got both of the catchers getting some licks up there. Yan Gomes has been hitting the ball really well too. Everybody kind of got healthy in terms of the lineup out there in Colorado, but there's some other stuff going on too. It's not just that. Like the Cubs are putting up numbers across the board. Patrick Wisdom playing third base, batting sixth. He has come out of that early slump. He's actually seeing the ball a lot better. And like when I look at this stuff, you can say, "Oh, well, that's Colorado. That's why he did what he did." No. Nonsense. He was completely whiffing on pitches. He was not seeing the ball well. You could see his timing looked like it was off. There was something off with him. Even when he was making contact, he was just missing balls, popping them up, or beating them into the ground. He was driving the ball to all fields this weekend, and that's a great sign for Cubs fans. I'm gonna be honest. I was starting to get a little concerned that perhaps Patrick Wisdom last year was kind of an anomaly, kind of a fluke, and he was regressing to some of his other tendencies. But he actually came out of it and hit the ball really, really well with a 1379 OPS in his last 4 games. Jonathan Villar leading all Cubs with a 1476, Suzuki at 1471 OPS, and Nick Madrigal, another guy who kind of came out of it in Colorado, just as Jim DeShays predicted. Again, spraying the ball to all fields. But the key thing here is it's not just that Colorado's confines offer a little more real estate for outfielders to have to cover so that it makes it to where some balls drop in. These guys were actually hitting the ball better. They were hitting the ball on a line, driving the ball to all fields much better. So this is not just a function of playing in Colorado. These would have been hits. And I'm not saying they would have been hits anywhere, but the trajectory is looking a lot better. You've got Mike Hermosillo batting 7th in center field, Ian Happ in left, batting 8th, and then Nico Horner. So you've got Hermosillo, if you speak Spanish, you don't pronounce CH. But anyway, Happ and Horner playing short and batting 9th. And I love him there. Like he's so unselfish. Like he's fine with batting in the 9-hole and just doing his thing. He'll still rake down there. But what I wanted to get into was something that's been really interesting as the game is getting ready to start here. Is the Cubs are actually really playing well offensively and defensively. This entire season, the Cubs so far have committed 1 error. 1 error in 9 games. That makes them 3rd in Major League Baseball. There are 2 teams who have not committed an error yet this season. The Cubs with a 997, I think, fielding percentage. So they're protecting any leads or anything like that they have. They are doing a really good job of run prevention from the standpoint of playing error-free baseball for the most part. The 1 error notwithstanding. Pitching wise, we can do a little bit better. I have some comments on how I think that game went. Was it Saturday night or no? It was Friday with Marcus Stroman. Leiter pitched on Saturday, so I was not happy with the way that whole sequence went down with Hilliard. But I'll get into that in a minute. But what has been really impressive is the Cubs actually lead Major League Baseball in OPS as a team, in batting average as a team, and in on-base percentage as a team. So they're really doing a good job of getting on base and actually driving the ball well to getting extra base hits as well. So it's not just about um, purely getting on base. They're hitting the ball for power as well. Um, but the thing that's the most impressive, this is something that I think is largely lost on most people. The Cubs last year, I'm going to pull it up. I got to see what the actual precise number was. Major League record, because the Cubs. I'll just while I look up the stat, I'll tell you what happened. All right, so last year the Cubs not only led Major League Baseball in strikeouts, but they set the record for the most strikeouts batting for a team in any season in Major League history. Okay, this is not a good stat. You do not want to lead the league in what the heck? Okay, well, this thing's messed up. You do not want to lead the league, let alone set the Major League record for something like strikeouts in the batter's box. That was the Cubs last year. Lots of swing and miss, just some awful, and that was even before the trade deadline. Like Rizzo struck out a decent amount. Javi Baez was striking out a lot before he left. KB was striking out a lot before he left. You had strikeouts coming from the 2016 World Champion guys as well, and then it didn't help. Schwindel struck out a good bit, but Patrick Wisdom really struck out at almost a 40% clip. So the Cubs needed some help, and boy, did they get it in both Nick Madrigal and Seiya Suzuki. Also, Nico Horner playing more of a regular role. So get this. Hang on. Let's see. Strikeouts. So the Cubs right now are, I think, fourth in Major League Baseball in lowest strikeout rate thus far. That's pretty impressive. So like I can't even be mad at it. Like it's such a dramatic turnaround for what is. Wow, that's okay. Hang on. Team. He gave me the record for players. But yes, so to go from setting a major league record for strikeouts in a season as a team to no, not in a game, in a season. Bro, you suck, Google. This is terrible. They have the Phillies have the most in history of baseball. They've been around, like, I think they're one of the longest. Yeah, the Cubs had the most strikeout. What? Oh my God! Seriously, I apologize, people. This is terrible. This is not allowing me to search for what I'm looking for. But anyway, oh yeah, there it is. Okay, 1,596, breaking the Detroit Tigers 2019 record of 1,595. So they broke it by one strikeout, but still, they set the major league record for strikeouts in a season last year in 2021. And right now, let me pull it up here. Hang on just a second. Let's go to strikeouts. The Cubs are 25th in baseball in total strikeouts as a team. They are sixth to last. Or well, they are the sixth best team at not striking out this year. So that's a huge step. Now, moving on to the other part of it. So playing really good defense, really solid defense behind that pitching staff, which is what you need when you don't have a lot of swing and miss in your rotation. You need to have guys who can pick it behind you because you're going to be putting the ball in play. But the other part of it is that offense putting pressure on pitching staffs, getting into bullpens early, keeping people on the bases, and keeping things moving, keeping the chain moving, and the unselfishness that I've seen so far out of this lineup, where the Cubs are actually taking their walks. They're not allowing they're not, when they're being pitched around and attempts are being made to get them to chase, they're not chasing. They're doing a really, really an excellent job of keeping themselves in games by keeping at bats alive, taking a lot of pitches, and seeing a lot of pitches from the opposing pitcher. But they're generating offense. They're generating base runners. They're generating runs. Speaking of base runners, I apologize. I've been just talking and not really telling you what's going on with the game, but it's early. We are in the first inning, and Hendricks is pitching with one out and a runner on first here in the top of the first inning, pitching to Randy Arozarena right now. But anyway, the only thing that's lacking right now, because the bullpen has actually been pitching really, really well, is the starting rotation has been very hit or miss. And we kind of expected this, right? This was not something that came out of nowhere and surprised us. We knew when Kyle Hendricks, especially the way that he pitched last year, where he was kind of Jekyll and Hyde, and it's been his MO throughout his career. That's why I'm kind of excited tonight, because he's back at home. He typically pitches much better at Wrigley. Wow, that's a strike, Blue. That's a strike. Come on. Wow. Hendy just locked up Randy Arozarena on the inside corner at the knees and didn't get the call. That's a tough one. 3-1. Don't want to walk him, but you don't want to give in to him either. I don't envy the position Kyle Hendricks is in right now. That's a good pitch. Top of the zone. He tried to check. I'm not sure if he's saying that he went or if he's just calling that a strike at the top of the zone or what. Did it get a piece of the bat? No, it didn't get. No, that's a good pitch. That's a strike, Randy. Yeah, that hit right at the top of the zone, middle top of the zone. Anyway, Hendricks tends to be Jekyll and Hyde, and we actually saw, like, Marcus Stroman was pitching really well Friday night, and then the wheels just kind of came off. And I'm going to get into that bat with Hilliard here in just a minute. But not having Wade Miley available because he had that little setback late in spring training. There's a pop-up. That'll work. Way to work through that. A 3-1 count to one of the best hitters in baseball, and he gets him to pop up. That's a great way to start that first inning. 2 outs now. Runner still on first. The leadoff man actually got on, and Hendricks is so far doing a good job of pitching around that. Just needs to get one more out here and turn it over to the Cubs offense and see if they can hang another first inning run on the board, as they have, I think, 11 or so far this year, which is pretty impressive first inning runs. But so you've had Justin Steele has pitched well in the time that he has been out there. He hasn't completed 5 innings in both of his starts, but he's pitched well when he's been in. Drew Smiley has pitched really well. Also failed to get through 5 yesterday, but pitched really well when he was in there. And it's unfortunate because he should have gotten a win yesterday, but because of Major League Baseball scoring rules, he's not allowed to have a win because he only pitched 4 2/3. But he's been pitching really well. Hendricks pitched really well opening day and then got his head kicked in Pittsburgh. And that one was ugly. And then he's pitching here tonight. We'll see if he pitches better at home, which he typically does. His home road splits are pretty legendary in terms of how much better he is at home. And so I don't suspect this year will be all that different. Let's check and see. Wow. So did he not get a win on opening day? I thought he did. That's kind of crazy. Okay, so is Hendricks seriously 0-0? No, he's 0-1. That's right. Okay, with a 6.75 ERA. So let's look at his splits And I'm going to do they have a way that you can look at career? Let's just look at last year, because last year will give us a good indication, because it's not going to be all that dissimilar from normal. Well, actually, no, shoot. Last year he pitched better at home. I mean, better on the road than he did at home, which is not normal for Hindi. But he had a terrible year. Let's go to a year where he's a little more himself. He's 2-2 right now on KJ Choi. I almost said Hesop Choi. That's been a long time, Cubs fans, but it doesn't go away. And he struck him out. Nice. He painted black on the outside corner. That was a beautiful pitch. 88 dotted on the outside corner for strike 3, and the Cubs move on. All right, so let's go to these splits for Hendricks, because this is let's go to 2019, because that was the last full season before last year. He had a 2.04 ERA and a 6-2 record at home. He had a 5-8 record and a 5.02 ERA on the road. And his home runs that he gave up 6 home runs at home, and he gave up 13 on the road. And he pitched in 8 more innings at home than he did on the road. So that just shows you that even spreads those numbers out even worse. So Hendricks needs to get back to being himself. But that's the only thing. That's the only weak spot that I see, is the starting rotation, being able to pitch deep in games and really lean on that dominant bullpen. I think this bullpen has the potential to really be dominant. Lean on them in the proper way. Like, it's okay to lean on your bullpen if you're handing the ball to the bullpen to clean up the 7th, 8th, and 9th with a 2, 3, 4 run lead. What's tough is when it's the 4th inning and your starter is getting his head kicked in, the bases are loaded, you're already down 5-1, and you have to bring in your middle of your bullpen, maybe stretch some guys out. It just really starts to put a wrinkle on things that you don't want. And the other thing is, too, there's a different adrenaline rush that you get when you're coming in to hold a lead. When you're coming in and it's that this is my job. My job is to come in here and shut the door on this so we can keep this lead. When you're down 5-1 and you're coming in and your job is to stop the bleeding, I'm not saying that there's not some motivation there, but it's just a different level of like that adrenal response and like what your body actually does and how you get amped up and everything. And sometimes being amped up can be a detriment, but most of the time for a reliever, when you're going out there and you're trying to hit, 97, 98 on the gun and break off that slider, you don't want to be not at the top of that adrenaline rush. So if the Cubs can get a little bit more consistent production out of their starting rotation, and perhaps when Wade Miley comes back, you could settle into a really reliable rotation that can absorb maybe a little hiccup here or there when you have Kyle Hendricks, Wade Miley, Marcus Stroman, Justin Steele, if he can continue doing what he's been doing, and then back that up at the back end with an Alec Mills or whoever ends up, filling that role as Nick Madrigal grounds out to lead off the bottom of the first. But anyway, that's kind of how I see it. I'm really impressed with the way the Cubs have played offensively, putting up some of the best numbers in baseball. And one of the main reasons that they're doing that is they're not striking out a lot. They've had a few games where they've had over 5 strikeouts this whole season. And last year it was pretty routine that, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14 strikeouts as a team was not uncommon. So here's Wilson Contreras. All right, sidebar. I have a little parlay. I got Kyle Hendricks striking out 5 or more and Wilson Contreras hitting a home run. And then I also have another parlay of Kyle Hendricks striking out 4 or more and Seiya Suzuki hitting a home run. So Wilson did not hit a home run there. He grounds out there short. But root for me, people. Come on. Let's go, Cubs fans. We got to stick together. And while you are here, when you get into the chat, don't forget to like, to share, and to subscribe. Most importantly, subscribe and share. Likes are cool. I appreciate them. Lets me know, gives a little feedback to me and YouTube that you're liking what you're seeing. But the biggest thing that you can do to help me is share this with your friends, baseball fans, and then also make sure, if you aren't already, that you subscribe to the channel. So hopefully Frank Schwindel can get on so we can get Seiya Suzuki up to the plate for his first at-bat at Wrigley Field, since he claimed the honor of National League Player of the Week. Kind of pumped for him. That's a big deal. Imagine you come over, you're trying to make a good first impression, and you're just like, yeah, look, that's it. I'm the best. Watch it. I don't know, man. They had some people talking a little bit crazy. I think it's a little early to start talking about Rookie of the Year and MVP and stuff, but he's certainly showing the chops. He might be worthy of that. Schwindel strikes out, so we will have to wait an inning for a Seiya Suzuki at bat. But I'm going to stick around until he comes up. Hendricks didn't get to sit down for very long, though. That was pretty rough. Yeah, I had forgotten that Hendricks didn't get a start. I mean, a decision in that opening day victory. And this is one of the things that's kind of crazy. Just looking at this, it's so frustrating to watch. There's no Cubs pitcher that qualifies for even being ranked in ERA. That's where Major League Baseball is these days, folks. You have pitching stats that are so woefully incomplete that you don't even know you don't even have people who are qualified for the ERA title. You have 59 pitchers in Major League Baseball. We're a week and a half into the season. You have 59 pitchers in all of Major League Baseball. That's like 2 pitchers per team that qualify for the ERA title because they don't have enough innings. We're getting to the point now where they're going to have to lower the standard for how many innings it takes to win the ERA title. That's insane. I think it used to be like 120 innings or something like that. They're going to have to drop it to like 80 innings just so you can have some of these guys that they might miss 10 starts and then, but then they only pitch like an average of 5 1/3 innings in their other 20 starts. So here we go. Top of the second. Cubs looking to improve on that 5-4 record. That's the other thing too. After all the little ups and downs, little roller coaster ride that has been this season, let a couple of games get away from them. That second game against Milwaukee, or was it the third? No, it was the third game. Yeah, it was. Wasn't it? Hang on, let me pull up the schedule. So all these days are starting to run together for me. Yeah, they won the first 2 and then lost the chance to sweep. Lost it 5-4 and had that game in hand and really blew it late. Then they go on the road. They beat Pittsburgh in game 1, and then they kind of got Hendricks got beat up, and they got owned in game 2 of that Pittsburgh series. They win game 1 against Colorado. Game 2 is the one I want to talk about because I have some issues with how Marcus Stroman and Wilson Contreras, honestly, too, because he was the one back there helping to dictate how that at bat went against the Hilliard kid, center fielder. But then you go to Game 3, and Game 3 was kind of out of hand. Like the Cubs took an early lead, but then Colorado just jumped out, and the Cubs were kind of climbing their way back into it the rest of the game, and never really got to within more than or got to closer than maybe 2 or 3 runs, and ended up losing that one 9-6. And then they won a close game yesterday in Colorado to close that out. But those 2 games that they should have won, that they blew, that lost to Milwaukee. Wow, that's a nice pick by Hendy. Wow, that was really, really nice play. Little chopper right back to him, and he just stabbed at it with his glove and snagged it, threw him out. But yeah, so let's go to this Friday game, where Marcus Stroman comes up, and he's pitched his way, what looks like he's pitched his way out of a jam. Okay, I think it was second and third with nobody out, and he gets a strikeout and a pop-up or something, or maybe it was second and third and 1 out. He gets a pop-up from Diaz, and I'm like, okay, we're good. Then he gets real quick 1-2 count on Hilliard, and he's busted him up and in with fastballs, and Hilliard can't catch up to him. He's sitting there, he's trying to muscle up, and they're talking about this. This is I haven't seen the kid play a lot, but apparently this is one of like the holes in his swing is up and in. He has a hard time laying off of it. His eyes get big. He sees it. He wants to hit it, and he can't quite get his hands up there. And if you place it effectively, put a little cutting action on it, and then also get it elevated enough, and also get it because you don't want to leave it chest high to where he can actually get the bat to it. You want to get it a little higher than that, so that so he really has to get up there to get on top of it. Otherwise, he's going to pop it up or swing through it. But you also want to have enough velocity so that it's hard to catch up to it. So what do? Slider low and in, not even a competitive pitch, in the dirt. Takes it 2-2. Slider low and in again, not a competitive pitch, doesn't swing at it. So now we're at 3-2. And I guess they kind of felt like they needed to pitch to him because they didn't want to load the bases up. So what do? We just slider low and in again, except he leaves it up a little bit, catches, it's like right at the knees, right over the middle, but it's right in his bat path where he just drops the bat head on it and just dumps it down the line in right and doubles home 2 runs. Now he's on second. Next thing you know, boom, boom, boom. You get he's on second. I think they walk the next guy. And then Trejo hits a 3-run bomb. So you've gone from potentially throw one more high tight fastball. He swings through it. You're out of the inning. You're still up 3-0. And you move on. You go sit down. And then you come back with a fresh inning. And you're good. And you've only thrown 50 pitches. To instead, he ends up throwing 40 pitches in that inning. He taps out at 80 pitches, has to get yanked, and he's given up 5 runs, and we're down 5-3. So that was my issue with that whole sequence. I was not a big fan of how they approached that at bat. I felt like especially when you have a young hitter and you're a veteran pitcher, when you have something that he can't handle, you make him prove to you that he can handle it, and you don't make it easier on him. First of all, you sped his bat up, throwing off-speed pitches. Second, you allowed him to just drop the bat head to the ball by throwing it low and in like that, because that's right in his wheelhouse. That's like kind of like a sweet spot of his swing. And so he's able to easily barrel that ball. And the other thing is, too, the first 2 pitches that you threw in that sequence, once you were already up, in a 1-2 count, you're in a pitcher's count. The first 2 pitches you throw aren't even competitive pitches. So it makes it really easy for him to take. Now, if those pitches are about 6 inches closer to being strikes because one of them was in the dirt. It was about a foot and a half off of, the strike zone, low and in. If that thing's close, he swings over the top of it. So I don't even, at that point on that first one, I don't even necessarily have a problem with mixing in that low and in slider. And I get it. Like, I'm not Marcus Stroman. Obviously he's more talented at this than I am because he's out there pitching and I'm not. I'm here talking about it. So all due respect to him. I just didn't like the approach. So I rarely will criticize someone for hanging a breaking ball or anything like that because I know how difficult that is. It's tough. Ball doesn't always go where you want it to go. You do the best you can to repeat your mechanics and your grip and everything, and to release at the right point and everything. But baseball is it's one of the toughest games to play because it's a game that is played more than any game. The only other game that's close, and maybe even in some instances, some different aspects of the game more advanced than this, is hockey. But baseball and hockey are the two sports more than any other that require precision at lightning speed. And so I respect that and I get it. So what I'm more criticizing is the mental approach of like, why do you've got this kid, like he's kind of gripping up. He's feeling that moment. He wants to drive in those runs and you can get him to chase up. You already did. So I'm okay with throwing the one breaking ball down and in. It would have been cooler if it had gotten, a little, if he had not maybe overcooked it as much as he did because he put too much on it and it ended up in the dirt. But the other thing is too, like if you make that pitch and it's effective, and even if it's a ball and he lays off of it, well, now you've set him up. You come up high and tight again. And even when you missed, I still say go up high and tight. I don't understand why they went 3 in a row down into a spot that was not, he either wasn't chasing it or, in that last instance with that pitch, he actually, he drilled it. That ball is out of play, foul. All right. So Suzuki has a 2-2 count here in the bottom of the second. Still no score. Cubs and Tampa Bay Rays. But yeah, that's my breakdown of that Marcus Stroman, that one at bat against the center fielder for Colorado. I was not thrilled with the way that thing went down. And this isn't something like some sort of like second guessing or anything like that. Like while it's going on, and Suzuki reaches on an error. He was hustling. He was hauling ass down the line. So I think he probably forced that throw a little bit. It was a chopper. So the shortstop had to range a little more towards third base and make an off balance throw. He balanced himself, but he looks like he threw it a little bit high and up the first baseline more towards home plate, and Choi couldn't get. He got the glove on it well, but it like hit in the glove and rolled out. So Suzuki is safe at first with nobody out, and that brings our man Yan Gomes to the plate. Like I talked about before, we got both catchers, Wilson Contreras and Yan Gomes, in the lineup tonight. Wilson playing catcher, obviously, and Yan Gomes DHing. Nice little breaking ball right down the middle. He takes it, so it's 0-2 now. Wonder if Suzuki will try to snag a bag here. Yan Gomes has been on fire, though. You may want to just like allow him to hit and not. Wow, really? He just took a couple of benders right down the middle. I mean, that last one was a little bit higher and a little bit further away, but it was still in that center square. Like it's, oof. He would have lost tic-tac-toe, that's for sure. But we move on now, and it's Patrick Wisdom coming to the plate with one out and a man on first. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Everybody in the chat, if you're feeling it, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to share the podcast. Oh shoot! Wisdom just jacked it. Hello, let's go Cubs. All right, all right. Patrick Wisdom has got it back going on now, y'all. He's he started hitting the ball a little bit better, and that's what I was talking about. So as much as it would be easy to say, like, oh yeah, well, of course he did better. It was Colorado. Everybody hits better in Colorado. Yeah, but you could see he was starting to see the ball better, and he was starting to barrel more balls, and hit them with a lot more authority. So it wasn't just that they were playing in Colorado that it wasn't like he was hitting the ball the way he hit it in Colorado in other parks in Wrigley and in Pittsburgh. No, he was not hitting the ball like that. He was either swinging through it, or he was popping it up, or he was beating it into the ground. What he did this past weekend was he started driving the ball to all fields, and then just now he took a hanger and just destroyed it into the left field bleachers. So Cubs lead 2-0, and Tampa Bay is now going to be digging from behind. And this sets up well. Now I just need for Hendricks and Contreras, or Hendricks and Suzuki, or both. That would be even better. Hendricks with 5 strikeouts, and then Suzuki and Contreras each hit a bomb. Whew, I would love it. But I'll take this. I'll take the Wisdom home run to get the Cubs an early lead, as they have done a lot this year. Cubs have jumped out to some early leads in almost every game so far. Love to see it. Absolutely love to see it. Ian Happ swinging through one. 0-1 count. All right, so the Cubs score first in that game. The Cubs scored first yesterday. The Cubs actually scored first on Saturday, first on Friday, first on Thursday. They scored first on Wednesday. They scored first on Tuesday. Wow, have they scored first in every game? No. Wow, they scored first on Sunday last week. They scored first on Saturday, and that one was postponed. Oh, so the opening game of the season, Milwaukee scored first, and then the Cubs scored 3 in the 5th inning. That's the only game all year the Cubs haven't scored first. That's pretty crazy. So Ian Happ strikes out, and that sends us to the top of the 3rd inning. And with that, we're right at about 45 minutes. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. We're going to do some more breakdowns, but let's go get that W. Fly the W. Thank you again for watching the Wrigleyville South podcast. I am Chad, and we look forward to seeing you again. I'll be back maybe tomorrow, but definitely a couple more days this week. So I'm going to try like I said before, as much as I can to do these as often as possible, either during a game or as a post-game wrap-up, or maybe as a preview of a game, work schedule permitting and whatnot, and other family obligations. But I appreciate you guys coming through. Don't forget to hit the share, the like, and the subscribe buttons while you're here. Share it with your friends. If you got baseball fan friends, bring it in here. I would love to see you guys come in and join the chat and start, let's ask some questions. Let's maybe have some debates. Let's talk about different things going on. The shift, and the fact that they're going to outlaw the shift to a certain degree next year, and maybe some of the other rules changes. There's a lot of stuff we can talk about. You know how baseball is. Baseball is one of the most fun sports there is to just kind of shoot the breeze and talk about, because you have some time to, especially when you're watching a game, to just go through those different conversations. So we look forward to doing that with you guys here. Thank you again for joining, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we hope to see you again soon. Y'all have a great day, great night. Go Cubs, go. Let's get this W. Peace, y'all.